Okay, in this series you'll be learning the basics of animating in Adobe Animate. And before we get started, I just want you to get to know this panel, and it's a timeline panel. You could add layers by clicking this icon. You could rename a layer by clicking on the name and typing in the name, renaming the layer. You could also add folders to organize all the layers that you have by clicking this icon, and by dragging your layers under it, you would have it under the folder. So let's just delete them. Delete. Yes. Okay. You could also zoom in and zoom out by clicking this icon. And you could notice that there are two numbers. The first row indicates the real time, so 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Under it, you will have the number of frames. So when we created this document, we chose that we wanted it to be 24 frames per second. So notice that when we go to the 24th frame, it will be equivalent to 1 second. And 48 frames will be 22 seconds, and so on. The next thing you need to know is that there are 3 types of frames in Adobe Animate. You have the keyframes, which means a point in time in which the property of an object will change. So imagine if you had a circle and you moved it slightly to the right, you would have a new keyframe. And also if you change the whole elements in the page, so notice I have this title here, and if I go to the next frame, I have these elements, so it's a new keyframe. You could also have frames which are empty, and it indicates a repeated keyframe and nothing changes. So notice if I add a frame behind this keyframe by hitting F5, the blank keyframe, nothing is in it, and it's repeating the keyframe. A blank keyframe, however, has nothing inside it. The page has nothing. So notice this frame, it has nothing in it. If I add something, if I add, let's say, a stroke, it would immediately turn into a keyframe. Notice the dot, the black dot, it changed. And there are shortcuts to adding keyframes or frames or black frames. So F6 for keyframes, F5 for frames, and F7 for blank frames. And you could also add using this icon. So if you click on it, you could add a keyframe, blank keyframe, or a frame. And also click on auto keyframe, so whenever you add something to your page, it automatically adds a keyframe. So this makes things easier for you. So the other thing you need to know is that there are 2 types of animation in Adobe Animate. We have the frame-to-frame animation and also the tweening. So frame to frame is when you draw each frame and change something slightly. Okay? So if you have a ball here, you would draw it slightly to the right and then slightly to the left for frame 3 and then slightly to the right for F4. So when you put these frames in a sequence and play them, it would seem as if it's moving and animating. And this goes back to, if you know, like Disney, they draw each frame in a separate sheet of paper, and then when they play them, it seems as if the characters are moving and coming to life. The second type of animation is tweening, and this basically means the in-between frames. So you draw frame number 1, let's say a circle here, and then in frame number 5 you draw another circle, and in between them, frame number 2 and 3 and 4, Adobe Animate is going to calculate how the animation works, and it's going to move your circle from this point to this point. You'll get this once we actually start working. And there are 3 types of tweening. We have the object tween, classic tween, and motion tween. And in the next videos, you're going to learn about each one of them. So it'll be easy for you.